Hello, hello. Good afternoon, good morning to some of you still. Thanks for joining today. Per the usual, let's go ahead and give it another minute or so just to make sure everyone is on and is ready to listen, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, I think that's probably enough time. We can go ahead and get started here. I'm just going to kind of talk over the end of the music here. But thank you for joining February's 2021 Tips and Tricks webinar. Today, we're going to be covering the email notifications that go out to your borrower, your realtors and partners, and to you and your team. If you've ever had one of our automatic emails go out and you had no idea why that email went out, you're in the right place. Today's webinar is going to be extremely helpful for any new users that are joining today's session, and will also provide as an excellent refresher for any of our Floify veterans that are joining us today. A lot of you may already know me. If you've ever reached out to support, there's a good chance we may have spoken over email, phone, or chat, but my name is Drew. I'm a senior member of the support team, and I'm coming up on 5 years at Floify here real soon, in about 3 weeks, as a matter of fact. I love working at Floify. It's a great company who takes care of their people, and on top of that, we love to help you all out. We love to hear your success stories, so don't be shy about sharing any of those. We actually have a company Slack channel, and anytime we get a success story, we like to share it company-wide to kind of radiate that positive energy. So feel free to shoot any positive feedback you have about the system. We definitely love to hear about it. As usual, I do have some colleagues that are holding down the chat. So if you have any questions, comments, or feedback about the email notifications or any other functionality, feel free to shoot those over to us in the chat. If you have a personal wish list or any recommendations for features you would like us to cover in upcoming tips and tricks webinars, please send your ideas to us through the chat as well. Now, I do have a lot I'll be covering in this 30 minutes here, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, today's topics of discussion are going to be the non-customizable email notifications, which are just system-generated emails that you don't really have much control over. We're going to talk about the customizable email notifications, both automatic and the manual email notifications. And I'll go ahead and show you how you can customize those emails. Now, first, we'll go over the non-customizable emails. And with these emails, we'll go over the verification link for your borrowers from the landing page. Whenever you add an e-signature request for a document, the add new prospect without delay access, requesting an updated e-consent, your realtor and partner email notifications, and the borrower docs uploaded email. So those are the ones that are going to be non-customizable. Now for the customizable emails, we'll go over, like I said, the automatic and the manual updates. And for automatic, we'll go over needs list, the add document notice, reject doc notice, deadline notice, all docs accepted, idle application notice, and then for the manual, we'll go over the add new prospect, and I'll show you how the delay for borrower access works, how to resend the needs list email, how to add a new doc with the on-demand option, how to resend or manually send a deadline notice, how to send a forgot password email right from within your loan flow, and the milestone notifications. All right, so let's go ahead and cover the non-customizable emails first. The first one we're going to cover is going to be the verification through email. The way this works is the borrower will access the landing page. They're going to click on the Apply Now button, and instead of setting a password up front, they're going to get an email sent to them. They can find that email. There's going to be a link on there, and they can click on the link. Now, rather than having to set an application right up front, they can click the link, go into the application without ever setting a password up front, and they can worry about setting up a password later once their active loan flow is established. All right, now this is what that email is going to look like. Once they enter their password, it's a real simple email. Hello, thanks for starting an application with Team Drew at Mile High Mortgage. Click here to verify your email address and begin applying. Okay, borrower clicks the link, they get taken directly into the application. So let me just give you a quick demo of what that's going to look like. So borrower is on the landing page. They can go ahead and click Apply Now. Borrower can go ahead and enter their email address. There we go. And of course, we ask for it twice just in case, the borrower types it in wrong. We want to try to ensure that we have the correct info. They can agree to the terms, click Next, and verify your email. So we just sent an email to their email address. Check your inbox. All right, perfect. So that email was just sent out to the borrower. Again, this is the email that they receive. And if you do have an interest in setting this up, you can find this in your settings under the Apply Now General settings. All right, and then what you're looking for is select how borrowers can access Apply Now, and it's going to be through an emailed verification link. So if you prefer that, you can go ahead and set that up right through your settings. The second non-customizable email we're going to talk about is the e-sign email to your borrowers. So if you set up an e-sign doc for signature, if it's a borrower on the loan flow, they will receive an AdDoc Notice. However, if it's a third party outside of Floify, they're going to receive a different email. So if you set it to a third party, this is what that email is going to look like. It's going to say the loan owner asks you to e-sign. In this case, Bart is the borrower. So Eric asks you to e-sign a document for Bobby Borrower. The borrower can obviously click the link there, and then they can go ahead and e-sign that document. Pretty simple. Okay. Next is going to be the add new prospect without delay. Now, let me go ahead and show you how this one works. So if we're looking at the loan pipeline here, if we navigate up to the top where it says prospects, that's going to take us to our prospects page, and we can click add new prospect here. We can enter the borrower's email address, and then we can put their name. In this case, Drew. Tester is going to work today. Now notice I'm not going to click the delay borrower access, and I'm going to save prospect. Now that lets me know that the prospect was successfully created, and I can now edit their loan application. Now this is the email that's going to go out to the borrower when I add them as a new prospect. So, hi Drew, your loan application with Boulder Mortgage Group is ready to be filled out. Click here to begin applying. That'll take the borrower right into the application so they can go ahead and begin working on their app. All right, now the next one is going to be requesting an updated e-consent. So anytime vital information is updated for a borrower, an email is automatically going to be sent out to them. It's going to request new e-consent from them. All right, now this can also be resent manually from the Edit Loan Flow page. So if you ever need an updated e-consent, you can always uncheck the box in the Edit Loan Flow page to resend an email to ask for this once again when the borrower logs in. All right, and this is what that email looks like. It'll say the loan owner has requested your e-consent. It'll provide a link there so the borrower can go ahead and log in. And what's going to happen is when the borrower does log in, they're going to see this right here. So your consent to do business electronically is needed. They can check the box and submit, and that's all there is to it. You have a new e-consent in Floify. All right, now realtor and partner email notifications. These are sent to your realtors and partners when they're selected from the Edit Loan Flow page. So when you're selecting their name, or if you're giving them the Makes Letters permission, they're going to get an email whenever you save from that Edit Loan Flow page. Now they can set a password if this account is brand new to them, or if they have logged into Floify previously, they can just simply log in with the password that they've already set previously. All right, now this is the email that the borrower, or I'm sorry, the realtor and the partner are going to receive. So in this case, Rhonda is my realtor. So Eric has invited you to participate in and observe the mortgage process for Bobby Borrower. There is a 2-minute video that Rhonda can watch. It shows her how to navigate through the system, and it also shows her how to generate her own pre-approval letter. All right, now in this case, Rhonda has already logged in, so her link just takes her to the login. But again, if it was a brand new account, it would take the realtor to a page to go ahead and set their password. And the sixth one here is the borrower docs uploaded. Now, with this email, an email gets sent out every 6 hours if docs have been uploaded. All right, now that only goes out if the origination team has not had a chance to view these documents. If you have had a chance to view them, we're going to go ahead and save an email, and those will not get sent out to you. All right, now those get sent out to the loan flow owner and any assigned followers. This does not go out to the borrower. This is just for your team only. All right, and this is what those emails look like. So if you ever see an email that comes through that says borrower docs uploaded for, typically it's the borrower last name and whether it's a purchase or a refi, but it'll say that that borrower docs were uploaded in the last 6 hours and are awaiting your review. It'll have the borrower listed as well as the loan ID, and it'll list off any documents there that the borrower has uploaded. Okay, now let's go ahead and get into the customizable emails here. All right, we're going to go ahead and talk about the automatic emails. The automatic emails are going to be the needs list email, the AdDoc Notice, Reject Doc Notice, the Deadline Notice, All Docs Accepted Notice, and the Idle Application Notice. All right, now let's go ahead and start with the needs list. This email is sent to the borrower, and it does carbon copy the loan owner and any followers that are set to receive those notifications as well. And when this email goes out depends on how the active loan flow is started. So there's a few different ways this can be. So when a borrower submits and completes a loan application and auto convert is enabled, you'll notice that the initial needs list email is sent out to the borrower. Again, you're going to be CC'd on that email, so you're aware that activity is taking place in your pipeline. The second way is if a user on the origination side converts an incomplete application to a live loan flow, that's also going to send out an initial needs list email. Thirdly, if a loan is manually started from the Start New Loan Flow button, that's going to send out the initial needs list email. And then fourth, if anybody is connected through an API and you start loan flows from an outside system, that will also trigger the initial needs list email. And as I'll cover later, the needs list email can be sent out manually as well. All right, now this is what that email looks like here. So getting your docs to Team Drew at Mile High Mortgage. You've probably seen this email if you've put at least one loan flow together so far. Thank you for entrusting us with your loan. The next step in the process is getting your documents in for review. Now the link on this email is a smart link. So if the borrower has already created a password, they're going to be able to enter their password and log into Floify using their same email and password. On the other hand, if this loan was started manually and the borrower has never had a chance to set an email, or I'm sorry, set a password, they can click on that link, enter a password, and then they'll get taken into the borrower portal. So the link knows if they have logged in previously or not. All right, let's talk about the AdDoc Notice. All right, another automatic email that we have. So this is sent out when new document requests and conditions are added to an existing loan flow. All right, that does include the e-sign requests. Email and text notifications are sent roughly 15 minutes after the first request has been made. So you do have a 15-minute window in order to add other documents that you may need before an email gets sent out. So rather than sending out multiple emails, we'll try to consolidate those new requests onto one email and then send those out in about 15 minutes. The automations for the AdDoc Notice can be turned off and sent on demand instead. I'll cover that a little bit later once we talk about the manual updates, but it can be turned off if needed. Okay, next let's go ahead and talk about the Reject Doc Notice. This is sent to the borrower when a document is given a thumbs down. This one also goes out roughly 15 minutes after the first document is rejected. So that's a pretty simple email there. This is what it looks like. So, hi Andrew, we have received the following request, and unfortunately they cannot be accepted as submitted. It will list off all of the documents that have been rejected. So in this case, it was a bank statement and a driver's license. And of course, we provide them with a link so they can click, hopefully log back into Floify, correct those, and continue on with the loan process. All right, next let's talk about the deadline notice. Now, this is the only true automatic email, meaning that you really don't have to do anything to trigger this email. This is one that you can schedule to get sent out if docs are still owed after a certain number of days. You can set a recurring schedule if those docs are still owed after a specific number of days, like I said. And you can send these up to 5 times total after the deadline. And if you need, you can always turn these off for a specific loan flow. So if you run into a grumpy borrower who hates notifications, just know you can always turn these off per loan flow if you need to. That email looks like this: loan items still outstanding. This is an automated message. The following requests are still showing as outstanding in our borrower portal, and it's going to list off any items that are still owed by the borrower. Okay, and then again, it'll go out on the deadline, and you can set it to go up to 5 times after the deadline. The All Docs Accepted Notice. Now, this one is sent when there are 0 documents in the docs owed or docs pending review. All right, now there's no delay on this email. This one is sent immediately when the last document is either accepted or it's been deleted. All right, now this is what that email looks like. So this is an automated message. As it stands, all of the documents you have submitted to us have been accepted. At the moment, we are not requesting any further documentation from you. If that changes for any reason and we need other items, we will be in touch. Okay, and of course, just like any other of these automatic emails, you can customize that if need be. And 6, the idle application notice. So this is another automatic email that can be scheduled to go out to borrowers who have not completed their application after a certain number of days. And again, this one can also be sent up to 5 times after the initial notice goes out to the borrower. Let's look at that email. Okay, so thank you for thinking of us for your mortgage. Currently, your application is in progress and waiting for you to finish. If you are stuck or need help to continue, do not hesitate to reach out. I am happy to help. As I mentioned earlier, those 6 emails, the automatic emails that is, can be found in Settings, and in the email tab. All right, so you can see we have the needs list, add doc notice, reject doc notice, deadline, all docs accepted, and the idle application notice. And for the most part, we're going to have the same three options here. We can preview, edit, and then we can always email a preview to ourselves. So if we click preview here, this is going to open up the email so we can see what would be sent out to the borrower. All right. The next option is to click edit here. And this is if you ever want to update your emails. You can add your own verbiage if you want. You can go ahead and edit the subject line. You can see there I use a merge code for company. But if you ever want to add anything, you can plug that in right here to this screen. So if I wanted to add a new line, for instance, I would just go ahead and type add another line here. Or if you really want to get technical, we do have what's called a code view. So if you have any interest or any experience with HTML, you do have the ability of using HTML and possibly some CSS in here as well. All right. But we don't expect you to know that. And if you ever do make updates, but things go awry, you want to just go ahead and plug the default email back in, we do give you an example right here. You can just simply copy and paste that up top. And we have merge fields here, which are available to you as well. The preferred name is used by default, but if you'd rather use the first name, you can. But you can plug these into your emails. That way it reflects the borrower's names, for instance, as you're sending them to different borrowers. The information will still look customized as it'll read their names and so forth. All right, if we look at the AdDoc Notice, this one's going to give us a few different options here. So this email is kind of unique. So by default, it's set up to automatically send an email 15 minutes after you add a document to a loan flow. But it does have an on-demand option as well that you can select. And I'll talk about this a little bit more here once we talk about the manual emails, but you do have that option. And then of course you can disable this as well. All right, the reject document notice is pretty straightforward. The deadline, this one is the automatic email that I was talking about earlier. So this is the one that's going to automatically send out if your borrower still owes documents. The all docs accepted notice, that one's pretty straightforward as well. And then the idle application notice. So let's go back and let's talk a little bit more about the deadline notice. I want to show you how you can schedule these to go out. So if we're still in settings, if we click milestones, we have the option of editing our milestones, but then we can go down to our deadline area and we can edit the deadline there. All right, now the default deadline, you can set this up however you like. 2 days is pretty typical. I normally see 2 or 3 days here. All right, and then I can choose the time that it'll go out. Now, I can choose if I want emails to go out before the deadline or on the day of, and then how many days I want it to go out after the deadline. So if the deadline hits, I'm going to send an email, and then maybe 2 days after that, I want an email to go out up to a total of 5 times. This is where you can set that up. We do have blackout days here, so if you don't want emails to go out on a certain day, you can black those out as well. And then we also have the idle application notice. So let me point out this one. It works very similar to the deadline notice. However, this setting is going to be in apply now because this page has pretty much everything to do with your application. But if we scroll down a bit, we can find idle application reminders. Go ahead and click edit. And same thing here, you can choose how soon you want to start sending out reminders if a borrower has an incomplete application. And then you can choose how many days and how often you want to send that out. So I'm just going to select 2 days, and then you can end that after a total of 5 reminders if you want. I'm just going to leave mine at 3. And again, I have the blackout days if there's certain holidays or days I don't want to send out those emails. Okay, and now we're getting into the manual emails. So let's go and talk about these a little bit. So the 5 different manual emails that we have are add prospect email with delay, the needs list email with delay, add new doc notice, with the on-demand turned on, deadline notice, the forgot password email, and then the milestone notifications. Okay, so the first one is going to be the add new prospect email. So the way this one works is on the prospect page, we have the blue add new prospect button. So if we click that button, we can again enter an email, the borrower's name, and then we can delay the access. So let me just plug in another email here. Okay, now this time I am going to delay the borrower loan application access, and I'm going to save the prospect. So that means that a borrower did not receive the email just then. All right, but there's Drew borrower. And if I look over to the right under the action column, I'll see a little clock icon that says invite borrower to loan application. All right, now if you have a chain link, that means the borrower has already received that email. If it's a clock, the borrower has never gotten this email yet. And if you click on this, it's going to show you a preview of what the borrower is going to receive. So let me go ahead and click on that. And here's the email. Again, it's a nice simple email. Your loan application is ready to be filled out. It's going to provide the borrower with a link, and then they can click that link and continue on to their application. So this is good if you ever are taking information from the borrower and you want to go ahead and plug some of that in for them. You do have that ability. And then of course, if you want to go ahead and resend the email, you can resend this with the chain link there as well. Okay, the next manual email is going to be the needs list email with the delay turned on. All right, so with this one, let me show you a few different ways. If we first go into the settings, we can go into Apply Now, and we're going to go into Apply Now General Settings. Okay, now you have what's called the Delay Borrower Access here, which means that if a borrower fills out the application and completes it, it'll still turn into an active loan, but it's not going to send an email out. You can send that email when you're good and ready. All right, the second way that you can send this, or that you can delay the access rather, is from the Start New Loan Flow page. You have the Delay Borrower Loan Flow Access here. If you click that checkbox, again, that's going to keep the email from going out, and you can send that email when you're good and ready. And yet another way is if you have an incomplete application here, or complete, depending on your settings, and you convert this to a live loan flow, again, you have that same option. You can delay your borrower loan flow access, and then you can manually invite your borrowers whenever you're good and ready. You just have to go into their loan flow. I don't have an example here to show you, but if you go into their loan flow, click the red, yellow, or green bubbles, it'll show as a yellow banner near the top of the screen, and then you can just click invite borrower, and that'll send the email out to them. Okay, the Add New Doc Notice, the on-demand version. So with this one, again, we can go to Settings, Email, and then we can go down to the Add Document Notice here. And if you enable the on-demand emailing of Add Document Notices, what's going to happen is if you add docs, instead of the email going out automatically, you're now going to see this little paper airplane icon. And if you click on that, you'll have the ability of adding a personal note if you so choose. And then you can go ahead and email that notice, and you would get confirmation when that email goes out. And you can view that from within the loan flow as well. And you can send that out when you're ready. All right, now on the next two, I kind of grouped them together. It's the deadline notice and the forgot password email, as well as the needs list email, yet again. So these ones can be found in the Edit Loan Flow page. So from the pipeline, if we go to the Edit Loan Flow page, the pen and paper icon, we can navigate down to the borrower info section. And over to the right, you're going to see send borrower a notification. Now, the first icon here is going to be send needs list emails. So that's how you can manually resend that. You can manually send a deadline notice as well. And you can always add a personal note here if you need to. And then the question mark is how you can send your borrower a forgot password email. So if they forget their password for whatever reason, you can resend that. And then the right side is going to be for text messages. So if you ever needed to send a text message, you can click those icons on the right side. And the sixth one is going to be a milestone notification. All right, so if anybody here, if you've used Floify for even just a little bit, you're probably somewhat familiar with the milestones. And these are all manually checked off. So if you go into a loan flow, you're going to have the bubbles right here. You have all of your different milestones that you can check off. Pre-approval, contract received, appraisal ordered. When you're ready to check this off, just click on the circle. You can plug in a property address if you so choose, and you can send an email and a text update when you're ready. You don't have to, you can always say no, but if you do, the emails are going to show right in here. So you can see who's being sent the email, who's getting CC'd. If I want to check the text, I can. This would also show a co-borrower if I had one. I can play with the date here. And then again, I can add a personal note if I want to. So if I have anything additional I want to say here, I can add that. And then I can go ahead and check off that milestone. Now when I do, it's going to show that it's been checked off here, of course. The borrower can see it on their end. And to customize the milestones, just go to Settings, Milestones, Manage Milestones, and you have all of them here. You can have as many as 15 or as little as 2 if you choose, but this is where you can customize those. All right. Well, thanks for hanging in there with me today. I know I covered a lot of information in a little bit of time, but I do want to thank you for joining us. Again, if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, as I know I went through that pretty quickly, feel free to reach out to support. Again, that's support@floify.com. We're happy to help you out. We will have a recording of this available as well. So if you ever want to give this another watch, you will have the ability of, pausing, rewinding, fast forwarding, anything that you need to. But again, thank you all. I hope you have a great day and just let us know any questions that come up in the meantime. Take care.